Welcome everybody to the first ever CandidaSupport.org live Q&A session. As you can see, I have Jim White here with me. My name is John Leland, and I actually support the marketing and outgoing communications with CandidaSupport.org. And Jim, you're a co-founder, right?
Yes.
2 seconds about you and how did you come to be the man that you are in terms of what you know about Candida. I will say one word, one sentence of introduction, which is, I guess I've been working with Jim and the team for over a year. And one of the things that I get personally from my involvement with CandidaSupport.org is this connection to what I call the heart of service, that they really care about helping people get better and to address the painful symptoms of Candida. And they do it from their hearts, and they do it because they care and want to help people get better. They themselves have suffered from Candida, and it's been how many years of research that you've done, Jim, in terms of coming up with the solutions that you're offering?
Well, the solutions we're offering, we've been working on for 15 years. Before we found 3LAC, we had another 5 to 7 years where first Marty and then I struggled with our own Candida symptoms, and we know firsthand how frustrating it is to go to a doctor, to go to somebody who you hope can help make you better, and they don't find anything wrong with you, and your symptoms don't really mean anything to them. And you go away feeling hopeless and helpless.
Yeah, and it's so there's so much to it, including the cleanse and so forth. So the chat is open and the video lines are open, and we have a call-in listener also. But if you're here via video, you're welcome to join us by video. Put video all caps in your question if you want to join on video. But live questions are welcome, and we have a backlog of questions. I'll just start out with this process that I know that a lot of people don't understand, that dealing with Candida, you don't actually cure it. You are able to manage it effectively. Is that accurate?
You manage it. If that's really one of the biggest problems that our customers have, is they have the modern allopathic idea that you go to the doctor, you get a pill, and you take it for a month, and then you get rid of something. But Candida is not like that. Candida is almost never gotten rid of, but it can be completely controlled.
So what is the process? I know that, one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know is that 3LAC is a widely acknowledged and powerful treatment for Candida. And you yourself personally, as well as the other founders, have added Candizolve to the formula.
Yeah.
So we call it the 1-2 punch. Why the 1-2 punch, and what does that do?
Well, we discovered we've always tested other products. We've always been looking because we wanted to be authentic. And if we were going to tell people that 3LAC was the best, then we had to know that in our hearts. So we're always looking, always testing. We used to spend money on products and give them to a new customer for 4 months and say, please test these for us. We'll give them to you for free. You keep a log and you tell us what it was like. And that's one way we learned about all these different products. We don't have to do that anymore because I can just look at a bottle or a box and look at the ingredients, and I know what it is. I know what those people are trying to do with this formula. Yeah. Did I miss your question? What was your question?
Well, why Candizolve, and why do you need 2 treatments?
Well, from the very beginning, we knew that Candida came in 2 different stages. It hits you in the gut first. It starts to grow in the bowels, and that's what we call the factory. Once it establishes itself there, it's very difficult. You can't crowd it out with good bacteria. You have to put something in there that will kill it. And 3LAC physically eats it, like Pac-Man going through a maze. It physically, it's food. The food of these probiotics is yeast. And so they chomp them up, they eat them, and you devastate that factory so much. But the other part is, if you've had Candida for a long time in your gut, it will eventually move throughout your whole body. 3-lac doesn't move throughout your whole body. And we used to treat that with 4 other products that were doing their best to try to corner and make Candida weak so it would die off. And through our continued looking, I came upon chitinase and chitosanase. And these enzymes are the enzymes that dissolve the hardest pieces of the cell of Candida throughout your body. See, enzymes can move throughout the whole body. They're not like a probiotic, which stays in the gut. Enzymes go throughout the whole body, and they dissolve that cell wall. And once they start to do that, your body can kill the systemic form of the yeast. We've never had one product that did that so effectively. You know, the chitin is the problem, the chitin in the wall of the Candida cell. And chitinase is the enzyme that eats it.
And that's Candizolve. So 3-lac is the gut, Candizolve is the system.
Yeah. And Candizolve is also so wide, the platform is so wide of enzymes that all the other things, the proteins, the cellulase, the different other things that are in that cell wall are all addressed. There's enzymes that are working on and dissolving every one of them.
Great. Okay, and I'm happy to keep asking questions, and I do have the emails available to do questions. But you know, those of you that are here live with us, we would love to have you on by video, or just throw a question in the chat, and we would like to address your personal questions directly.
I'd especially love someone to come on with video, because I never get a chance to see my customers. And I would love to look at them and answer their questions about Candida.
Okay, great. Well, until we have another question in the chat or by video, I'm going to ask you another one, which is about this severity test, because I know that people come in with different levels of symptoms. And this is something that I know you collaborated with a doctor in order to do. I'll put the URL in the chat for people. But there's actually within the whole website, I didn't do that correctly. Within the whole website, there are links to this severity test. Why is that so important? And you know, why might people want to use that?
Well, the severity test is a beautiful thing. There was a doctor that we were affiliated long ago. He sold 3-lac in his clinic. And he had worked with Candida patients for years before 3-lac, found 3-lac on our website, and like many other doctors and naturopaths, decided to have it in their own clinic to help Candida patients. And so he knew what it was like to treat people without 3-lac, and he knew what it was like to treat people with 3-lac. And he developed a test, an interactive test, that would determine the severity level of their Candida. So if it was fairly young and fairly new, then they would need so many months of treatment. And if it was worse, then it needed a little more. If it was really deep-rooted Candida, it needed more. Well, we took that and had a programmer make it interactive on our website. So you can just click boxes, and when you're done, it will tell you what level of Candida you have, and it will bring you right to the page for the program that is best for you personally.
Right. And I know that the products can be complicated, and if people have questions about how those get combined, one of the advantages of the severity test that I'm familiar with is when you do it, it shows you this much 3-lac, this much Candizolve, and kind of what the right program is for you.
Yeah.
Rose has raised her hand in the chat, so I'm going to take a chance, Rose, and promote you to panelist. Hopefully you raising your hand means you want to come on video, so let's see how that goes. So there she is, coming online. Rose, if you're I didn't get a question from you. I saw you raise your hand. Maybe she was fooling around because I don't see video on hers. There's a box came up. So Rose, maybe you want to throw your question in the chat if you were raising your hand. Nobody needs to raise their hand to ask a question. Just ask it in the chat anytime.
Yeah, just type
Can
it
you
in.
hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you are, Rose. You unmuted yourself. Did you want to ask a question? We don't see your video, but we hear you.
No, I'm not too techie, so I wouldn't begin. I can see you, but I don't know how to show myself. So,
Okay, that's fine. What's your question?
well, first of all, I want to thank you very much. You've really helped me. I have gotten online with your Candida support in the middle of 2015. So thanks to Betsy very much. She's helped me in responding to emails because I too had been very sick for many years. I even went to the Mayo Clinic with no answer.
Wow.
So anyway, I started on first just the 3-lac, and then later on heard about the Candisol. Well, I'm just getting done in March being on a 7-month cleanse, and I seem to have a lot of relapses. The things that bother me from the Candida, I get vaginitis and UTIs frequently. And of course, I also, by the way, take silver colloid to help keep away the UTIs.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Candisol and the 3-lac have really helped. But I'll back up. In February, I got a terrible UTI and went to the doctor, and they put me on the antibiotic, and you have told me what the antibiotics do. They just make the Candida really get worse again.
Yeah.
So my question is, so by now I'm supposed to be on 2 3-lac a day, but I am taking still 4.
Because of the antibiotics?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
And because I'm still experiencing some discomfort. So, you know, I don't know, should I take the Candisol again? I'm just wondering, how much am I taking? Too much? Do I need to take that much?
Great. Thank you for that question.
I think one thing you might do, Rose, is to take that severity test one more time, because you're at a different place now. And I don't know how long your antibiotics lasted. Some of them are 3 days, some of them are 28 days. Either way, they are going to kill off all the good bacteria in your gut. And what we know is that when that good bacteria is gone, then yeast can build up again. One defense against antibiotics is taking Saccharomyces boulardii. That is a beneficial probiotic that's not a bacteria. It's a yeast. It's a beneficial yeast.
Say that name real slowly for people, Jim.
Yes.
Okay, it's called Saccharomyces boulardii. Boulardii. There are 2 I's on the end. And if you were to talk to a naturopath in Europe and tell him you had Candida, he would put you on Saccharomyces boulardii. In fact, the most popular probiotic in all of Europe is Saccharomyces boulardii. The good bugs that are in our gut are both bacteria and yeast. And the beautiful thing about Saccharomyces boulardii as a yeast is that it will not morph into Candida. The other yeast in our guts will morph. It changes. It develops those little hooks that can hook into your gut and hold itself to the wall and actually burrow into the wall. Saccharomyces boulardii will never do that. So we talk about it in our Candida recovery guide, that if you are getting toward the end of your treatments, you should be taking a lot of Saccharomyces boulardii, because along with 1 3-lac a day, this is the best thing you can do to prevent your Candida from coming back, from growing.
Great. And by the way, those resources that you talked about, I just put Saccharomyces boulardii so people can get the spelling of it. I Googled it while you were talking. And also the text for the Candida Recovery Guide is an amazing resource that I know that you guys have put a ton of work into. A lot of useful information. When you buy from candidasupport.org, you get that link anyway. But in case you don't have it, or in case you haven't looked at it lately, there's a lot of stuff there. So Rose, you good on your question?
Yeah, where do you get it? Like at a GNC?
Oh, you can buy it online, and you can buy it at health food stores, I know. GNC probably, but I haven't checked.
So probably any health food store, or definitely check out the online health food stores or vitamin.
Online. There's a place called Bronson Labs online, and that's where I buy mine. Bronson Labs out, I think, in Arizona. And I love the integrity of that company. They really know what they're doing. They go to extremes to create the best product. And I think I'm getting the most for my money from Bronson Labs.
Okay.
So good. So thank you, Rose. I think if it's okay with you, then I'll drop you out. We're open to other people joining us video-wise and or audio-wise, as Rose just demonstrated. I can try and see you if you raise your hand. We got a lot of people on the call, so the best thing to do is to put a note in the chat. I'm trying to watch that both for questions and for other people. So I think I can remove you here, Rose. Thank you very much for coming on and for breaking the ice there and being, the first caller in. And we would, like Jim said, we would love to have video questions or questions in the chat. My question that I would throw in next, Jim, is this whole idea of the cleanse, because I know that Recovery Guide is all about the cleanse and kind of the process. And I think it goes to what you said earlier, that dealing with Candida symptoms is not just take a pill and you're done, right?
Right.
So what is it really like?
Well, number one.
Why is cleanse such a big part of it?
There's a detox that happens. And everybody knows, everybody who uses natural products, Rose, I see you, there you are. I'm glad to see your face.
Go ahead and finish, and we'll let Rose ask a question right after that.
Okay. So the cleanse, it's a long process, but people need to know that sometimes their symptoms get worse as they start taking the products, and they get into what's called the Herxheimer effect, which is you're doing all these wonderful things for your body, your systems are getting better and healing, and they start to expel their toxins. So you go through that period, and people have to really understand that that's part of the process, because if they don't understand that, they'll just quit taking their Candida products. And the Candida products were working. That's why it felt like it was getting worse.
Right. So you have to go through that cleansing process to really get to a healthy body.
Yes.
Very good. Hi, Rose. How are you? Good morning, or good afternoon, if you're depending on what time zone you're in.
When you clicked me off, it made my computer go off. So I put it on my phone, and somehow or other I see I'm on there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got your question answered.
Well, yeah, I have a few questions, but if someone else, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're with us, and it's nice to see you. Thank you for doing that. And I guess maybe I hit the wrong button. I apologize if I threw you out of the whole thing.
That's
I
okay.
only meant to not make you a host or make you
Okay,
an
Rose.
analyst.
From
Go
this
ahead.
Bronson,
What other questions do you have?
well, from the Bronson lab, can you also get the 3-lac, or do you have to get that through Global Health?
Oh no, yeah, you get that through, you're a customer of ours. So if you're on auto order, you're getting a 15 to 20% discount. You're getting free shipping.
So you are Global Health?
We're not part of them, but they are our partners in a way. They're the ones who imported the 3-lac in the first place. And at that point in 2002, we created a relationship with them. And I am the one who went out and found chitinase. And I brought that to them like 2.5 years ago. And they took that and they studied it and they worked on it for 1.5 years and found also the other enzyme, chitosanase, which is sort of a cousin of chitinase, and created Candizolf. So we kind of did that together. I'm the founding scientist on that, even though I'm not a scientist. But I brought them that excellent Candida product, and I love the company because they have so much integrity. And they, it's a federally licensed facility and all that. It gets tested all the time. So, yeah.
Okay.
So Candida Support is doing the research and doing the educational programs, just like this webinar today. But Global Health Tracks is who's actually selling and shipping the products for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. I have a question about, do you ever cheat and eat sweets? Because that's a biggie for me. And if so, do I just take more 3-lac or more of this Saccharomyces boulardii? Or?
Well, I will tell you this, Rose. If you are beyond the first, say, 3 months or so of your cleansing period, we tell people to hold off on the refined sugars. Okay, refined sugars. So not like an apple or a strawberry, but if there's refined sugar, even honey, in a way, stay away from those for 2-3 months. But after that, our products are so powerful that you don't really have to, you certainly don't have to be on the Candida diet. And I think we're the only people who say that. And our competition just hates us because they say, how dare they say that? Well, it's because our products work like nobody else's. And it's not about the diet. It's about the power of these products. So
that raises, let me follow up if you don't mind on that, because a number of the questions that came in by email that we know Betsy answered have to do with the diet.
Yeah.
And what can you eat? What can you not eat? How does that work?
Yeah, we get those questions every day about the diet. And, it's really the beauty. Number one, if you could do the Candida diet perfectly, you wouldn't need our products. You wouldn't need anything, because a Candida diet starves the yeast, and it starves it. If you can do it for 6 months, you starve the yeast to death. It's gone. But if in that 6-month period, Rose, you eat one gummy bear, one jujube, one Clark bar, one cookie, one little piece of pie, you have now refed your yeast and you are back to day one. So if you had to do that for 6 months, you ate a cookie, you had a drink of something, a beer, a wine, you are now starting over on the first day of 6 months. See, nobody can do that. That's why it's a ludicrous thing. The diet is just not needed. And number two, the diet is not good for you long term, because you're basically eating green vegetables and meat. There are no carbs in there at all, no sugars in there at all. So those two things all by themselves are not enough for health.
So when you're taking the products, is diet important at all? I mean, obviously you don't want people eating banana splits or whatever.
Well, we just tell them, stay away from refined sugars for a couple of months. Otherwise, eat what you want.
During that cleansing startup 2-3 month period, that's when you really have to be disciplined about the eating. And then
Not about
after
eating
that,
so much, but
moderate.
about sweets.
About
About,
sweets in particular.
yeah, not carbs even. Carbs turn to sugar, but it's a slower process. And our products are professional and strong enough to deal with that. But if you were to start our program and if you were eating a bag of gummy bears every day, then you probably aren't going to get anywhere.
Okay.
Does that answer that question for you, Rose?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
As far as intimacy, my husband, I finally talked him to start taking the 3-lac. He did the saliva test
Mm-hmm.
and he seemed fine, but it seems like intimacy can cause a flare-up in me.
Okay.
So any suggestions? Should he take more than 1 pack of 3-lac a day, or?
Well, let me say this, Rose. I wish Betsy were here because you mentioned, UTI, okay, urinary tract infection, and vaginitis. Now, is vaginitis, I'm trying to think, because she's up on all these technical terms. There are 2 things that can happen in the vagina there that are itises, and one is the yeast infection, and the other is bacterial. Do you know which one yours is?
I don't.
Okay, because Betsy, well, she knows all that stuff, and she would say, the fact that you're getting a urinary tract infection, which is bacterial, could possibly mean that your vaginal infection is also bacterial, which means that our products only indirectly help that.
Okay.
Candida is a condition that it clogs the body. It can drag down all the systems of the body. It makes you tired. It makes your brain foggy. All those things. And if so, it can make your body so weak that it can have these bacterial infections more easily.
It affects the immune system, right?
Yeah, but if what you're having are bacterial infections, then what you need are, antibiotics or some maybe antibiotic cream or, something like that, because that has to be addressed more directly, I think.
Okay. Well, I do take, like I said, the silver colloid.
Yes.
And,
Oh, that's good.
there may be other women listening that this is, especially I'm 72, and it is a problem that women have to dress more because things change.
Yes.
So there is such a thing as a silver gel too that helps women. So
yes.
I don't know if you know much about that, but between the two has seemed to help me.
Yeah. Well, we create our own colloidal silver. We have a silver generator.
Yeah, I do
And
too now.
Now you're talking about you personally, not anything from candidasupport.org.
Right. Me personally.
And actually, I'll interrupt here because I didn't do something at the beginning I should have done, and we're getting close to medical advice. And I need to remind everybody that candidasupport.org is not licensed doctors, nurses, nutritional consultants, or healthcare professionals. Jim's sharing a lot of his experience personally and the results over these years with literally thousands of people suffering from Candida, but that's all it is. Results may vary person to person, and you need to be aware that candidasupport.org is not licensed doctors, nurses, nutritional consultants, or healthcare professionals.
Our knowledge is subjective knowledge, not objective knowledge. So we don't have a laboratory.
Yeah.
But we have dealt with tens of thousands of customers and their emails. And one thing about our customers that's kind of cool, they're out there trying to figure out what's wrong with them. And they go to the doctor, and then they go to another doctor, and then they go to a healer, and they try all these different things. Then they go on the internet, and that's a sign that they're starting to take control of their own health. They're starting to say, I've got to do this for myself. So they go and they study and they find us. And when they read our website, and many of you participants here probably identify with this, you say, oh my God, they know what's going on. This happened to them. They know what I'm going through. And that's exactly true. We know what you're going through. People tell us their whole stories. They write us emails that are 2 pages long, their whole history, But finally, somebody listens to them. Somebody understands what they're going through. So, but we learn a lot that way. And then we help those people get better. And, we keep emailing and they go, okay, wow, I'm at this stage. And oh my God, I thought I would never lose that. And, it's wonderful.
That's really great. Well, Rose, you're doing a great job here demonstrating.
No,
I
done.
would love to hear from more people. Sorry?
I'm done. I won't take up the whole time, but again, I can't thank you enough too. I've been helped tremendously, so thank you.
Thank you
Wonderful.
so much, Rose.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to hear from you. I think I know the right button now to push you back to being a viewer. So, but Rose, so this is what Jim was talking about of responding to these thousands of emails over the years. This is as you know, I think the first Q&A live webinar style session that we're doing. The response has been really encouraging, but we would love to hear from you. Even just say hello in the chat so that I know you're talking. I mean, we have a pretty good number of people out there. What are your questions? Please ask the questions in the chat, raise your hand or put video next to your comment and do what Rose did and come on and you can talk directly to Jim and have your questions answered. And it helps everybody for you to ask your questions. So
it's sort of like doing dishes in the sink. You think, I don't want to go do the dishes. I don't want to. But then you get there and you get them rinsed off and you got your hands in the hot water and you're washing them. And it's a really good feeling. That's what sharing is like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
please,
And
if you have a question, just type it in. I'd be happy to answer it.
Or even just say hello. We're not seeing it. It's like the response was great and the show up here is really decent. But we're not hearing much in the chat. So just say hello at least, because I'm worried now that I did see one when I said, could you see the chat? Dawn said, yes, I could see the chat, but I really haven't seen any more questions in the chat or even comments in the chat. How are we doing? Is this useful? People seem to be staying with us. So I see it's useful.
I see an orange chat box and it has a 6 in it. Is that 6 people wanting to be in the chat?
Yeah, no, they're.
Oh, that's the things you've put in the chat.
Correct. Yeah, if you look at the chat, I've been putting in the links as you've been mentioning various aspects of the website.
Okay.
And I did see Don. Somebody else just say hello so we know the chat's working.
So is there?
I hope I'm not missing any questions.
So what do they do then, John? They click on the chat at the bottom of the screen.
If you mouse over the bottom of the screen, there's a chat icon and that pops up the chat window.
And then they can just click in the chat and type?
Yeah.
Why don't you try it? Well, I'm going to try it once and see if it takes my typing.
Yeah, you do it.
Oh, yeah, at the bottom here. Okay.
And it says to everyone. You can do it just to the panelists if you want, but
okay,
not for people to see your questions.
Okay. But we have some good questions also that people had written in. So if you want to go to one of those, John, for lack of.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I'll do that. But I didn't. Did you put something in the chat, Jim?
I just typed some gibberish and then I got rid of it.
Oh, you didn't, but you didn't.
There's something on the Q&A. There's a 1 in the Q&A. What does that mean?
Oh, great. So, good. Here we go. Antonio Silva, thank you. We're going to answer that live. Okay, so good. That's you caught something there. He said, I also have gallstones. How does this affect having Candida?
Okay, Antonio Silva. Thank you for asking. And this comes firmly under, I'm not a doctor. I don't have anything that I can really say about that. The general thing that I said about how Candida drags all your systems down, other problems start to pop up. And any inherent weakness in your body from accident or genetics or anything like that, that maybe would hit you when you're 50 or 60 years old, if you have bad candida, maybe that will hit you when you're 30 or 40 because your body's in a weakened condition. But the direct connection between candida and gallstones, I do not know.
Okay, great. Honest answer.
Thank you for asking the question.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio. So one of the questions we got by email, and we're still looking, so you can click on, if you mouse over, there's a Q&A box. You can throw the question in there just the way Antonio did, or we'll watch on the chat. But one of the email questions we got.
Wait, Don Williams has a question.
Great. Do you know, okay, so from Don Williams live, how do you know if you really have Candida? I've had a rash for 8 years plus the horrible itching. Docs do not believe in it. A Chinese doc asked me hundreds of questions. He said I have a yeast infection. I went on the Candida diet, took probiotics and Candida Plus. The rash and itching went away. I lost 15 pounds. It has since come back, and I'm on light therapy, which helps a bit. Light therapy, I see.
Yeah, light therapy, not light therapy.
Not light therapy, light therapy. Yeah, she's using lights.
Yes, yes. Oh, this is a great question, Don. Thank you so much for asking. You have gone through what our customers go through. You know, you've had the problems. The doctors have not understood it. It's the rare doctor who understands it. Usually have to go to the natural healers, you know, a naturopathic doctor, a chiropractor. Our first one, he studied macrobiotics and acupressure and those kinds of things. And he was the first one who told us we had Candida. So your main question here, the first thing you typed was, how do you know if you really have Candida? I'm going to answer you thinking that maybe you were not on at the beginning of our program here, because I talked about a beautiful thing we have on our website called the Candida Severity Test. And that test was actually written by a doctor who treated Candida patients. He understood Candida. This was many years ago. He used 3-lac. Before we had Candazole, he used 3-lac in his clinic, and it just made all the difference in the world to his patients. So he became a believer. He put together this test. He wrote this test to help people determine the level of Candida that they had, mild, moderate, or deep-rooted. And it takes you like 3 minutes to take this test. And it will show you what level you have, and it will zip you right over to a page that has the right treatment program for your level.
So is it, I'll be devil's advocate, is it possible that you don't have Candida, and will that test show me that I don't have it if I don't have it?
Yes, it will. It will show you that you don't have Candida. The questions it asks you are very basic Candida symptoms. And if you don't have them, you simply don't have Candida. But the rash, the horrible itching, I'm going to say that's Candida. That's my guess. But the test will tell you. And there are a couple different tests you can take there.
Yeah, so I put that link in the chat so that people can click on it if they want to. It also raises, her question also I think raises something I've heard you talk about, and we do have a videos page. There's a video link right at the top of the candidasupport.org. Jim's made a bunch of videos, and this is going to be more. But one of the things I've heard you talk about that Dawn is talking about in her question is kind of this process of, and I know the first video you made, I think, was about keep going and how people have relapses and kind of this process she's describing where it comes and goes.
Yes, that's the second part of her question, and I will address that. So you went on the Candida diet, you took probiotics and a product, and the itching and rash went away. So you did it for long enough to make those things go away. You lost 15 pounds, which is interesting, because when you have Candida, it can be difficult to either lose or gain weight. It messes with your system so badly. So you were over the hump. You took them long enough, you worked hard enough to get over the hump. You didn't have the full understanding that Candida is not really cured. Candida is, these yeast cells actually can leave spores. They can create spores that hide in tissues that even Candissolve can't get at. And that's why if you don't do some sort of ongoing protection, which my recommendation is, you take a lot of 3-lac during your healing period. You take Candissolve every few months maybe, and you get over it. And then just simply 1 packet of 3-lac a day. There's 60 packets in a box. So for $45 on auto ship, you'll get a box of 3-lac in the mail that will last you 2 full months. And that 1 packet a day, along with taking some Saccharomyces boulardii, will keep that Candida from ever setting up in your bowels again. Because once that factory begins to churn out yeast cells, like you said, all your symptoms come back. So that's, it goes against human nature. We want to take something and be done. We want to put in that effort and then feel we've done something. But having Candida, like if you have trouble with weight, you may have to watch your weight all your life. You may have to watch what you eat. Or some people are allergic to certain foods, so they have to watch that all their life. Candida is like that. You can never trust it to be gone. 1 3-lac a day.
That maintenance thing, that's a big thing, is that people do have the relapses. So we have a question here from an anonymous viewer via the Q&A box. He or she says, I used the cleanse and have been on 3-lac for quite some time, but I still have problems with itching and peeling skin behind the left ear and on the back of my left hand. Will it ever get better?
I would have to know how long you've been using the 3-lac, what the dosages have been. So if you can add that information, I need a little bit more to go on, because a long time might be 3 weeks for you or 7 weeks. And the dosage may be too low. So if you can put that in. Meantime, Dawn Williams has another question. Do I get this from your website? And yes, Dawn, you can order this from our website. And what we've built, we're not somebody who just says, here, buy our bottle of pills and our box of packets. We really want to help you through the whole thing. So you can order singly if you want. But what we have, and if you go and take that Candida severity test, it will show you just what program is going to be best for you. And then when you order that, you become a customer for so many months. And they send you the products just when you need them. They don't charge your card until they ship. And then after you're done, they will ship you that 1 box of 3-lac every other month for maintenance. Now, you can call them or email them at any time and say, I want to be finished with the auto ship program, and they will take you off. It's not a problem. You can do that anytime. But what we've built is what we know works and what we know will keep you from having that relapse.
Very solid. Thank you, Don. Really appreciate the questions. And, the anonymous asker, I know you want to stay anonymous, or I'm presuming that, but, you have the option of coming on live and have a conversation with Jim, or you can do it by audio, and then we won't know we won't have to see you. But, so he can ask you, how long have you been taking it? What dose have you been taking? Those kind of particulars.
It is kind of a conversation. So if you were up for that, that would be wonderful. But if not, we'll take more typing. Can't come live. Did not fix hair. Oh, that's Dawn. Oh,
Jim fixed his hair. Come on, look at it. All right, yeah, no problem,
This is
Don.
one thing our products don't do. They don't help you regrow hair. I tried.
That's a different thing. All right, so maybe we'll switch back over. I did put the treatment options link into the chat as well, and I guess I should do that video. You know,
Yeah, put the video link in there.
we really want your yeah. Here's the video link. We really want your feedback. You know, as you can tell, I think Jim is very committed to education and answering questions. And as we put in earlier, and I'll put in again, you can go to the contact us. There's a big button in the upper right-hand corner of the website, and a member of the team, Betsy, answers all those questions by email. So we're happy to provide that support in any form. But what we would love is your feedback. Do you love this live Q&A? Do you like the videos that Jim is doing on the website? Do you like the emails better? What works best, and what can we do more of that will help you on the path and understanding this Candida? It's not a simple thing, is one thing I've learned through working with the company. That, you know, there's a lot of complexity, and it's like this process of the cleanse and then this ongoing maintenance.
And that's the beauty of what we do, because we work with them through the whole thing.
All right, so should we do an email question? I'm sorry, go ahead. Did you want to say more about that?
Oh, just that we work with them right from the get-go. You know,
Good.
we tell them the whole truth. It turns a lot of people off, and they'll look and they go, oh, I can't commit to that, or I don't want to do that. But that is what it's going to take if you want to get control of your Candida. And the difference it makes in your life, the cost is nothing in that big picture.
Nothing more important than health. But
it takes a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like all good things and important things, it takes some sacrifice. Your time and your treasure.
Okay, so the video chat question line is open, the chat is open, the Q&A, the little box is open, and I'm going to go to an email question. I've been battling Candida for over 6 years, although not mentioned in your writings. I actually got it through a sexual partner and have never had a problem with yeast before. I just bought another round to begin again. I'm down to a few symptoms, occasional yeast infections and foggy brain, but have no digestive issues that I'm aware of. I plan to go on I plan to be a bit stricter on my diet, currently eating 1 good carb a day, non-gluten, and a glass of wine a week. Is this something I should give up altogether while on this program? If so, is that for the 45 days or just while taking supplements? I did your protocol a few years ago and it helped, although at that time no specific diet was required. And yeah. She also says, I hope there's going to be a recording because I may not be able to be there. And yes, we are recording. So that will be sent out to everybody that registered.
That's nice. That's really great.
So yeah, go ahead. I mean, you have covered this, but maybe you can encapsulate it.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what the essence of that question is.
I'll try and summarize it, which is that, you know, it's this process of what do I need to do to keep going? What do I need to do? She got over the hump, but then she's sort of struggling with this maintenance process of, and how important is it to eat? You know, it sounds like she's actually on a pretty
yes, that's right.
1 carb a day, 1 glass of wine a week sounds very little to me.
Yeah, yeah. So she really doesn't have to worry about the diet. You know, that's her big worry here. I would suggest, number one, that she go to and reread our Candida Detox Recovery Guide, because it gives the bigger picture. See, she's like gone through that first period, and then she's feeling like, oh, she's done, and now how do I have to eat and this and that? She needs to be on maintenance program. If she's getting rid of those symptoms, you know, I would maybe stay on therapeutic doses for another month. I tell people, we usually tell people, once your symptoms are gone, stay on the therapeutic dose for another 30 days. So that would be 2 packs of 3-lac a day.
At the therapeutic for mild, moderate, or deep-rooted.
Right.
2 packs a day is for everybody?
2 to 4, it depends.
Okay,
but
depending on how
if
severe.
most of her symptoms are gone, she could probably take 2 a day and get rid of the rest of them. Continue to take 2 a day for 30 days, and then she can go on 1 packet a day And don't worry about your eating. Really, you can have that wine. You can have a glass every night if you want it.
Yeah. So the big thing is that people give up on the maintenance doses, as I understand it. And that sounds like, and this is for you, Deb, by the way.
That's where human nature works against you.
Yeah, we think. So Rose put a comment, not really a question. I learned a lot today. I appreciate all you've done and are doing. Thank you. Appreciate it, Rose.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so any other questions live or in chat? I don't see any, so go to another email. And we're 10 minutes before the hour, so I think we'll stop kind of at about an hour. But let's see what other email questions we haven't answered. Because everybody's, what's great about asking questions is everybody has these questions, right? Well, so very concise. Thank you, Nicole. Question 1, what's the best kind of diet to be on after symptoms are under control? And question 2, how long does it typically take once you begin taking 3-lac and Candizolve to notice a difference with the symptoms?
To that question, we answer every body is different. Every body is different. So we cannot give you one answer that says it takes this long before you start feeling better. You may spend 30 days going up and down, feeling worse and a little better, and worse and a lot better, and worse, and it goes like that. We call it the yo-yo effect because it's that detoxing, that Herxheimer effect that happens with natural products. It means that you're healing. It means that good things are happening. So I would rather say to you, just hang in there. Know that it's going to take a little bit of difficulty and a little bit of pain, and that sometimes you're going to feel like $1 million. And if you go from $1 million down to $150, doesn't mean that you've lost progress. You're still making progress, but those toxins are coming out.
And
don't worry about the diet.
I know you can't say it specifically, but is it generally 1 month to 4 months? Is that a fair window, or what's the average range? And your results may vary because.
Okay, I would say that's good, John. 1 to 4 months probably. They're going to feel better, and maybe the yo-yo effect is just a little thing or not there at all anymore. But usually 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months is an average.
By the time people find us, their Candida symptoms are usually moderate or deep-rooted. Human nature again. We put forth a great effort, which is kind of painful to go and do something new when some other pain is worse than this.
Okay.
So Dixie Sanders has come in, and I think she's the one that. She said
she was the one that asked the question that we needed more info. I've been through the cleanse and 3-lac for over a year and still have problems with the left ear and the back of my hand. I'm taking 1 3-lac a day.
Okay. Now, it is possible that the rash is not a yeast-based rash, or that it is an allergic reaction type rash. If it is, but a lot of rashes are yeast-based. When doctors give all these fancy names to your rash, often they really don't know what they are. I mean, this looks like that. Well, what is that? What does that name mean? It doesn't really say exactly what the genesis of that rash is. If this is a yeast rash, it should respond to a little bit of coconut oil. Get yourself a little bit of organic coconut oil and maybe apply it 3 or 4 times a day. You don't have to apply it real heavily because that's very antifungal. It works great for the vagina also, for those problems. For a yeast rash in the vagina, it's very soothing and calming, but it really topically goes to work against fungus. So If it is a yeast rash, it should respond to coconut oil. And if it doesn't at all, then you're probably dealing with something else. And if it does respond to the coconut oil, continue using it, but I would say maybe go to 2-3 lac a day and take another bottle of Candisol. There's just a level of Candida there that hasn't been knocked down far enough.
Great. Another question off the email is, I'm taking immunotherapy drug for multiple myeloma, so it's serious. I have also had issues with Candida in the past. The drug side effects and Candida symptoms are very are very similar. How do I tell the difference? I've been back on the Candida-free diet for 2 days, and the diet, you're debunking the diet already earlier in the call. And anyway, she said, I'm back on the Candida-free diet for 2 days, and I'm feeling no better. Do you have insights or advice for me?
So the question is,
well, one is how to tell the difference between the drug side effects and Candida.
Yeah, the only way I could answer that would be that if the symptoms responded to you taking 2 or 3 lac a day, then you would know that it was Candida. The other side is a question for a doctor. And the problem that you're having is that the doctor's not going to understand the Candida side. So the doctor can't really answer your question. But if you started taking 2 or 3 packets of 3 lac a day, you would see. It would take maybe, I don't know how long it would take again, but between a month and a couple of months, you would probably see a difference if it was Candida.
And then the bigger part here that you have answered, but it's probably worth reiterating because this question does come a lot. She said, I've been back on the Candida-free diet for 2 days, and I'm not feeling better.
Yeah, that the diet isn't going to, it's a natural way of dealing with Candida. So again, it's a slower way.
But one of the takeaways I got is you need to be 100% pure on the Candida diet for it really to work, or otherwise you go back to square one.
Yeah, and for a long time. So they're just starting out, and they're not going to see a difference right away.
So your solutions are more a month, 2 months, 3 months of 3 lac, and then how much Candisol do you do with that?
Well, we start them out with Candisol as well, and depending on their level of severity, they either take another Candisol in 3 months and then another one in a year, or that first bottle of Candisol is enough if they're on mild. I'm pretty sure that's the program.
Okay, great. I'll put that link in there one more time. So the bunch of links. The website is just where is there you go. There's the severity test. The website is just full of useful information, but this severity test, I can say from the point of view of understanding how people deal with these solutions, really does lead you to here's the combination of products, because it is complicated to understand how much 3 lac, how much Candisol, and how does that work. The severity test takes you directly to product combinations. Is that the recipe?
Well, it takes them to an order page where they can actually just click and order the program that fits them personally.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, we're right at the hour. I can do a last call for those of you who are with us live. If you have a question, this is the last chance. Put it in the Q&A box, put it in the chat, raise your hand, and we'll let you on video. But otherwise, we'll thank Jim, and we'll look forward to your feedback. Rose let us know, but we would love to hear from each and every one of you. How was it for you? How well did it work? What do you want to hear more about? And again, you can go to the website and ask questions anytime. Betsy is our dedicated staff person who answers all of the emails. Any question, anytime, go to candidasupport.org and click that Ask Us for support up in the upper right-hand corner of every page. And we'd love to hear from you, and we love answering questions, and we love to help.
And Dawn Williams and Dixie Sanders, thank you again for your questions.
Yeah, it was great. We got
Every question is helpful in some way to other people.
and anonymous viewer also asked a question, and Antonio Silva also asked a question.
That's right, Antonio.
Good. All right. Well, this has been great. It really
All right.
fun to do it, and we'll follow up with emails and send the link out to those who weren't here. Thank you for your time, Jim, and for your expertise and for your dedication to helping people.
You're welcome, John. Thanks for your help on putting this together. I think it was very helpful for people.